Hello, everyone. My name is Mama Bunny, and I'm so happy to see you here back at the burrow. And to all of our new friends, hello. It's so nice to meet you. How was your day? I hope it went well. And now that you're here, my day's gotten even better. Well, because you little ones have been very sweet lately, I thought we could read a story that's just as sweet as you. But we can't have this sweet treat of a story unless we're all comfy cozy. So make sure you're wearing something comfy. And don't forget to bring your favorite stuffy. I think they're gonna want to hear the story too, don't you? Well then, are we all comfy? Let's get started, shall we? Tonight's story is called Clifford and the Big Red Dog. Clifford Cookie Crazy. Clifford, the big red dog, loved being red. He loved being big. He stood way above everyone on Birdwell Island. Each day, he took his owner, Emily Elizabeth, for a ride all around the island. She sat on his back, and they went to the beach, or the park, or to visit friends. They never worried about the weather. When it rained, Clifford raised his paw, and Emily Elizabeth ducked under to stay dry. If it got too hot, Clifford wagged his tail. His tail was like a giant fan. It cooled Emily Elizabeth off right away. One morning, Clifford set off by himself. I wonder what T-Bone and Cleo are doing, he said. T-Bone and Cleo were Clifford's best dog friends. I'll go to T-Bone's house first. Surprise! Said Cleo when Clifford peeked into the second-floor window. We're both here. The purple poodle grinned. Hi, Clifford. T-Bone came to the window, too. Guess what Sheriff Lewis brought me today? Sheriff Lewis was T-Bone's owner, and he was always bringing home surprises. Clifford peered at T-Bone. The bulldog was jumping up and down, wagging his tail. He was very excited. A new bag of tummy yummies? Asked Clifford. Nope, said T-Bone. Dog eat donuts. T-Bone shook his head. Puppy pancakes? Enough already. Cleo laughed. It's not food. T-Bone has a new toy. T-Bone held up a red ball for Clifford to see. It's a big red ball, he said. It reminds me of you, Clifford. Clifford looked at the ball. It didn't seem very big to him. Still, his friends thought it was special. Wow, he said. Let's go play with it. Cleo and T-Bone carefully climbed out the window. They stepped onto Clifford's head. Whee! They slid from his head into his tail, all the way to the ground. T-Bone dropped the ball in front of Cleo. She pushed it with her nose. Then T-Bone rolled around on top of it, faster and faster. He giggled as the ball spun and spun. That looks like fun, Clifford thought. T-Bone swatted the ball to him. Clifford curled himself around the ball and tried to roll, just like T-Bone. The ball lost its air. It collapsed, flat as a pancake. I'm sorry, guys. Clifford hung his head. I squashed it. That's okay, Clifford, Cleo said quickly. Don't worry, said T-Bone. We can always get another toy. But Clifford could tell they were disappointed. Maybe one day we'll get a giant ball, he said. Then I can really play. Just then, loud music filled the air. Ta-ra, ta-ra, boom, boom. T-Bone clapped his paws. Where is it coming from? Clifford gazed over the houses. There's a marching band around the block. It's coming our way. Minutes later, the musicians marched past. A group of children trailed behind. It's a parade, said Cleo. Is there a holiday today? I know what's going on, Clifford said. Today is the Birdwell Island Fair. Emily and Elizabeth will be there, and Mr. Howard is going to take pictures. And Cleo nodded. The band must be heading to the fairgrounds. The fair sounds like fun, said T-Bone. Let's go. Beep beep. Sheriff Lewis parked next to the dogs. He was driving a shiny patrol car. T-Bone leaped up to the open window. He licked his owner's face. I'm going to the fair, said Sheriff Lewis. Do you want to come? I'll even sound the siren. Yep. Woof. Arf. And the dogs barked happily. In a flash, T-Bone and Cleo hopped in through the back window. Clifford tried to follow. He stuck his nose inside, but the rest wouldn't fit. Oh, Clifford, Sheriff Lewis said. You can run next to us. Woof. Clifford barked yes. He took off next to the sheriff's car. Went the siren. In the back seat, Cleo and T-Bone barked. The wind blew their fur. It was so much fun. Clifford was having fun too. But it would have been nice to be inside the car, closer to his friends. If only the car was as big as a truck, then he could fit too. Soon, Sheriff Lewis stopped by the fairgrounds. Everyone out, he said. Cleo and T-Bone jumped out and landed next to Clifford. Ta-da, ta-da, boom, boom. The parade marched past. Come on, said Clifford. The dogs followed the musicians through the giant open gates and into the fair. They were ready for anything. Clifford gazed at all the people, rides, and booths. Wow, he said. This is fantastic. Cleo and T-Bone jumped on his paw for a better look. Flags blew in the breeze. In one corner, a big Ferris wheel turned and turned. People played games like ring toss and guess the number of jelly beans. All around, delicious smells floated through the air. Food stands lined every aisle. Cleo took a deep breath. There is nothing like the smell of popcorn in the morning. T-Bone sniffed. There's so much food. Cotton candy, hot dogs, burgers, ice cream. Clifford couldn't believe all the good things to eat. This was going to be great. Cleo and T-Bone were thinking the same thing. They leaped from Clifford's paw, taking off. Just remember our people food rule, Clifford called to them. Screech! And the dogs stopped, and they turned back to Clifford. If it drops on the ground, or it's headed that way, Clifford began, it belongs to the dogs. And that's okay, Cleo and T-Bone finished. Clifford smiled. What are we waiting for? Cleo and T-Bone raced off in different directions. Right away, T-Bone spotted something interesting. A man was eating a hot dog. The man took a bite from one end of the bun. Oops, said the man, and the hot dog slipped out the other side. T-Bone watched it fall, down, 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 and then it bounced up, 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 right into T-Bone's mouth. Mmm. Cleo was following a group of children. They were walking and talking and eating popcorn. When popcorn fell to the ground, Cleo ran to get it. She scooped up the popcorn like a vacuum cleaner. Great idea, said T-Bone, falling in next to her. Clifford joined them a few seconds later. Soon, the popcorn buckets were empty. All done, he said happily. Shh, said Cleo. Look! A little girl was sitting in a stroller. She held a triple scoop ice cream cone. Yawn. The girl was falling asleep. The cone tipped over. One scoop rolled off, right into Cleo's mouth. The cone dipped lower, and the second dropped. Got it, whispered T-Bone. And then the last scoop wobbled and wobbled some more, and then fell. Clifford bent low and caught it. This must be dog heaven, said Clifford as they walked away. Cleo wagged her tail. Let's see what else we can find. On the other side of the fair, workers are setting up an exhibit. Above their heads, a crane held a tent in the air. Okay, Sheriff Lewis directed the workers. Over to the right, over to the left. The workers rolled a giant sugar cookie onto a stand. Mr. and Mrs. Bleakman stood nearby watching. Good job. Mrs. Bleakman clapped her hands. Just then, Mr. Howard walked by. He took one look at the giant cookie and stopped. Wow, Mrs. Bleakman, you baked quite a cookie. Mrs. Bleakman grinned. Oh, I didn't bake it. Mr. Bleakman baked it, all by himself. And Mr. Bleakman nodded. It's a beauty, isn't it? It's the biggest cookie I've ever seen at the fair, Sheriff Lewis said. It has to be a prize winner. Mr. Howard agreed. He raised his camera. How about a picture, Mr. Bleakman? Cook and cookie? Why, sure, Mr. Bleakman said proudly. He stepped close to the cookie and beamed. Snap! Thanks, Mr. Bleakman. Sheriff Lewis waved to the crane driver. The driver nodded, and then he dropped the tent in place, right over the cookie. We'll raise the tent at the end of the day, Mr. Bleakman explained. Then everyone will see the cookie. Boy, will people be amazed, said Mr. Howard. He and the sheriff started walking away. See you then. Mr. Bleakman took Mrs. Bleakman's hand. Now, I'm going to win you a big stuffed teddy bear. Mrs. Bleakman smiled. That would be wonderful, but we should stay here and watch your cookie. It smells so wonderful. Somebody might want to. Oh, I'm sure no one will bother it, Mr. Bleakman said. He led his wife away from the tent. It will be just fine. Will it? Well then, little ones, since this story's a little on the longer side, I'm going to be reading it in 2 parts. So, we'll just have to see next time what happens to that giant cookie. Well then, little ones, it's getting late and we should go to sleep. So, get all snuggled up underneath your blanket. Hold your favorite stuffy tight, 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 so they know they are loved. Oh, and dream some wonderful dreams. And while you're having those wonderful dreams, I'll get our story ready for next time. How does that sound? And always remember, Mama Bunny loves you very, very much. Good night.